Hey guys, welcome to the Color Me Mike podcast. So just a quick disclaimer up here at the top. Anything said during this podcast only reflects on me and or the guest. Sonity has nothing to do at all with anything that's being said here. Sonity is just a cool boba milk tea shop in Fremont, California that is kind enough to let us record the podcast here at their shop and kind enough to hook us up with some boba milk tea drinks. So everybody just chill and enjoy the episode. All right, so you done podcast. You did a podcast with Jordan Quattlebaum and Mark Maple, right?
Yeah, we do a. They do. It's more of a. Through Zoom.
Yeah, you want to go ahead and just keep this like about like a fist away from me, and you can adjust the angle on this. You know, loosen up. They're meant to be adjusted, so don't feel like you're gonna break it or anything like that.
It's right here, but
yeah,
fist away.
Yeah, fist away. Just what's comfortable for you. I can always turn your level up, but yeah.
Okay.
Right around there is usually good.
That'll work.
Yeah, that'll work. But yeah, you just recently did a podcast with those two Stockton comics, right? The Maplebaum podcast.
Yeah.
You're saying, but they do it through Zoom?
Yeah, there was a Zoom. Yeah, we're actually it was through Facebook Messenger.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, Jordan and Mark are sick with the tech. Like, that was my second appearance on there.
Oh, really? How's that? I've done like when the lockdown was happening, I did a few podcasts, the first version of this podcast through Zoom. It was good, but I definitely prefer this. I prefer being face to face and let that chemistry fly. I'm getting all gay honest already.
No, I mean, it's all good.
But you know what I'm talking about. Yeah,
of course. It's like the first time I did it, it was interesting because like I didn't really know them that well. I knew them like 2 months. And this time we did it was more comfortable because I already knew them. But I guess off the rip, it would have been dope to do it obviously in person because of course. In person.
This was early in your stand-up career, then I'm assuming.
I did that. Maybe we did that in October. I've only known the 219 Comics for like a year.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I met all them at a mic at a boba place called Sweetbot.
No way.
Yeah,
it's a full circle thing.
Full circle, man.
I
started with them at Sweetbot, and then I passed. The Sweetbot gatekeepers let me in.
Oh, you got past that Sweetbot.
I got past into the boba world. I got past. It only took a year.
That's crazy. That's funny.
Man. Marcellus from Stockton ran that one.
Okay.
And it was like every Tuesday. It was a cool little spot. And that's how I met all of them at that particular mic.
But you were telling me you were actually originally from San Francisco.
Yeah, I lived in the city till I was 14 years old. So I'm from the city originally. Yeah. Then we moved to the Valley, like every other person that does like the Bay Area exodus in their teens for safety and property values. And I spent a lot of time in the Valley or whatnot. Then moved to Sacramento to go to Sac State. That's when I went to Comedy Spot to do comedy for the first time. Moved back to the Bay Area to like for a better job and the opportunity and all that. And then I took on like a job that wouldn't let me get on stage like at all. Then I started again, like, oh my God, this is 2020, gotta knock it out. Right. And I got booked at like Love's in SF. It's like this Bring Me show or whatever. For March 8th, right? And at first it was supposed to be like, I don't know, like 100 people. And that's when the SFs passed that law that was like, yo, no crowds over 100, no crowds over 50, no crowds over 25. So I'm like, oh, this show's gonna get canceled. But it didn't. Like 50 people came, then the world ended. And I was like, oh man. And then fast forward to like 2021, I was looking for mics, and while I was remote, like in the Valley hanging out or whatever, working, I saw Gabriel Alexander posted the Sweetbot thing, like, hey, come to this boba place, there's a mic there. I was like, there's a mic in Stockton?
Yeah, they didn't give a fuck about COVID over Stockton, right?
This is like May 2021. But when I met them, they told me they were doing like top secret backyard roof shows, underground sewer Ninja Turtle shows and shit. But yeah, that's how I met them or whatever. Like cracking down, chilling on quarantine and going to Stockton. And then since then, we've all been pretty close.
You're out in Manteca now, right?
Manteca, California, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if people even know where Manteca is. That's one of those towns like most people, the only reason I know about it is because my buddy and I used to review taco spots all over the place.
Right.
And one of the best tacos we ever had, there used to be a food truck, a taco truck out there by this, is by like a fruit, like fresh fruit market.
Fresh fruit market. We got everything looks like a fresh fruit market on every corner of Manteca, kind of.
Okay, yeah. But I think
that
it was
could be Wells Fargo.
I think it was called Santa Ana Amatlan. I think they went out of business, but they had the best quesabirria tacos. One of the best we've ever had. You fuck with quesabirria? You know what that is?
Which part is that?
So quesabirria taco. Quesabirria taco is basically it's you take the birria as a type of meat, right? I think it's pulled pork or pulled beef. people are gonna get mad at me now
It's
if I've been
fine.
watching this. But yeah, I wasn't the Mexican in the deal. My best friend was the Mexican. I was the bringing in that Filipino flavor. We're basically the same, honestly.
Right.
Filipinos and Mexicans. I don't know why there aren't more Mexican-Filipino pair because we're exactly the same.
You would think there's
culturally,
more,
yeah.
right?
Yeah, but no, so quesadilla taco is essentially, pulled meat. And it has his marinade, and what's special about it is it's you got two tortillas, and usually between the tortillas there's a layer of cheese, and then you deep fry that to make that outside tortilla crispy.
Oh, word.
And then you'll get a consomme, which is essentially like the broth that's made from all the seasoning they use to cook the meat, and you dip it in that or you put it. So that's your quesadilla taco.
That's a move. Okay, I need one of those.
Yeah,
I need
I
one of
remember
those.
when we were going out and doing these reviews before. The first one I ever had was in not Stockton, Concord.
Okay.
And there was these two ladies who owned the taqueria. They were pretty fine too. Not that I don't know why I threw that in there. It's gonna get in trouble with
Just
my
because
wife.
the food was so good, you remember all the details of
No,
what
I
happened.
remember because they were really hooking us up,
Yeah.
and then the energy was good there. And then they asked us if we wanted to try the quesadilla taco, right? Or then they said quesadilla. That's all they said. I said, "Oh, quesadilla? No, we're here to review tacos. No thanks." So it's like they had to explain to me what it was because I'd never heard of it before.
Of course.
You never heard of it,
I've
right?
never heard of it before.
Yeah.
I've never. I feel like now that you say it, I mean, I feel like I may have seen it.
Well, it's
and I
around
was-
a lot more now.
Like I feel like I saw the words and was like, "That says quesadilla."
Yeah.
Because sometimes you just run through words.
yeah,
Sometimes
that's how quesadilla is spelled.
So,
Yeah, it's like
these
wow.
people can't spell. What type of Mexican restaurant is this?
But that's how I found out about it, and that's the only reason I knew where Manteca was and that Manteca even existed.
Yeah.
I mean, do you like living out there? That's a no.
I don't really know. The weird thing is it's hard because I don't really live there, but it's weird because I kind of do since quarantine. But because of quarantine, I kind of just live everywhere almost. So within like the comic realm, it's like, where do you live? I'm like, well, sometimes I'm in Richmond, sometimes I'm in Manteca, but like my PO box is at a UPS store in Richmond, but my home is in like Richmond. I can get dressed anywhere. You know what I mean? Did I like growing up out there? It was cool. One of my good friends that I do a podcast with, the Dell Ryan Report. I've known him since I was 14. So we've known each other 21 years. Then some of my other good friends from the city, I always kept in contact with them. So once I left when I was 14, when I left when I was 14, I was still like always back every summer. So I've kind of lived all over NorCal. Only places that I really like lived was in Sac when I like went to school there and like bought a home there. Like I lived there. But as far as like Richmond and Manteca, I've taken the 580 ride so many times that I just live on the 580. Like it doesn't matter. And people are like, well, how do you commute and how long does it take and where are you at? Like where can you be booked at? Anywhere. Like I can get dressed. There's a Planet Fitness or 24 Fitness anywhere.
You fuck with Planet Fitness?
I mess with Planet Fitness in Manteca because they closed the 24 in Manteca. But I'm a 24 member, like 24 for life, gang, 24.
Yeah.
That's my set. I've been rocking with them for thousands of years through Costco until they canceled Costco memberships right before 2020.
They're losing money on those Costco memberships.
I bet they have to be. They have to be, bro.
Yeah.
Like you were in there.
Yeah.
If you copped the right Costco membership and went to sign up at the right gym, like you're paying like $714 a month.
Because then go Planet Fitness, like they had those crazy rules where you can't grunt, right? They
have like I just signed up for this last Monday. I just had to because I'm in Manteca so much that I needed the gym, right? So they have all that stuff, like no judgment zone, no grunting, like no big water bottles on the floor. But it's more satire. It's more satirical. They're not going to be like, grunt, get out the gym. It's just more to talk shit on. Oh, can I curse on here?
Yeah,
okay.
You say whatever the fuck you want.
It's just more to talk shit on like those type of other gyms. They're not really going to kick you out for like wearing the shirt that has like your nipple out that hangs down to like your belt. They're not going to do that.
Well, I guess your particular branch is cooler then, because I've seen videos online where they do.
Oh, really?
They take it seriously.
Manteca could be a little bit different because since they closed that 24, that 24 was open since I moved there when I was 14. That 24
I can't believe the 24 closed. I've never seen one of those things closed.
For real?
Yeah.
Are you sure? Are you serious?
Yeah.
They closed like 25% of the branches in California.
Oh, it's because of COVID.
Because of COVID, yeah.
Oh, okay,
yeah, because
that's
of COVID.
why.
So
Yeah,
they did like, instead of going under like companies do, they're like, yo, this footprint we don't need. This footprint we don't need. We have 7 next to each other in Sacramento. We'll close that one. So they closed a lot of them. So I think that Manteca Planet Fitness may be a little bit more lenient.
Yeah.
But it's a 24-hour gym. Like,
where does this whole like fitness thing come from you? Because you do a lot of Instagram posts where it's you working out to music, just vibing. Because usually I find if people are that passionate about fitness, it's one, either it's really been a part of their life since they were young, or two, they used to be heavy and they lost weight and they changed their life, and now they're all about it. So where does the fitness thing come in for you?
Primarily both. When I was younger, I played a lot of basketball.
Oh yeah, you were telling me that earlier before we got started.
Like a lot of basketball, and then there was like these sagas in my life where I've been like 260.
Oh no way,
yeah,
dude.
Pictures. I've been like,
dude, you're not much taller than I think we're the same height. Even. Holy shit,
5'10" and a half.
260. That's a lot of weight for that frame,
a lot, bro. A lot. So there's been times where I've just wilded out and like gotten that big. So a lot of what I do is just to maintain, because my metabolism sucks. So if I work out all the time or just doing something all the time, I could stay pretty active. But it hasn't happened lately since I've been on stage, because people have to see me. You know what I mean?
So that helps motivate you to keep check.
Absolutely. Because I see myself on camera all the time. Yeah. Not all the time. I'm not popping like that yet. But eventually, but like I see myself all the time, and like I'm cognizant of the clothes I wear.
Ooh, I like that word, cognizant. That's a good word, man. You don't hear that being pulled out all the time. That's a good word.
Thank you, man. I'm a communication enthusiast. Yeah. So I like to venture like in the vocabulary force as much as possible.
Yeah, like my pussy's getting wet. Just listen to that, man.
Oh, stop it, Mike. Oh, stop. We have company. But yeah, I'm cognizant of the clothes I wear as well. So like when I see myself on stage, I'm like, I don't want to.
I'm so glad you said that, because sometimes I feel like I'm the only one who thinks about that shit.
No, I do. And I know there's everyone has their own, everyone's got their own vibe, as far as like you got your like sloppy people, and then you have you have your sloppy people, then you have like your Steve Harveys. Yeah. Then you have your George Carlin, Kevin Hart's, that just all black all the time, which is like what I like to do. If you watch a lot of my videos, I'm wearing all black primarily all the time, because it's slimming, because I don't have to think about it. On some like Steve Jobs shit, like go to the closet, know what you're gonna wear. I can just grab this. All I'm worried about is my 10, 15, or 20. You know. So, but
this seems to be your trademark right here, huh?
The bandana. Yeah, man. I started wearing this when my dreads were really small, and then I just kept wearing it, and then eventually it just became like part of my.
It's a good look, man.
Thank you, bro. I appreciate it.
It's a good look. I mean, definitely. I mean, since you're black, it fits.
I would think so.
Yeah, I mean, like a white guy doing it, an Asian guy doing it, it's just not the same. You know?
mean, I've seen Asian guys wear bandanas. That's the thing, right?
Well, the thing is, like Filipinos are junior varsity black. Right, that's I don't know if it's true in the rest of the world, but generally speaking, metropolitan areas. Come on, it's pretty much. I would say we fucking play ball.
So I would say junior college black, not junior varsity. That's disrespectful.
But yeah, a little bit better.
Junior college,
junior college. Thank you. But it's true, right? So I guess like Filipinos can get away with it. Yeah. But see, if I saw like a white boy doing the same thing, it's like, get that fucking thing off your head, man. You look ridiculous.
Originally it was to wrap my hair, right? So you're supposed to like wrap it or whatever to go to sleep. But I wear a do-rag when I go to sleep. I started wearing this and was like, oh, this shit looks kind of cool. And I only had one. So I wore it all the time, because like I made the joke last week about my forehead, right? So I'm like, I have to do something for this, because you can't. To me, it looks silly to wear a hat on top of locks. It just looks silly to me. So I was like, I still want to show my hair, but I need something to like extenuate like my style.
Yeah. So thank you, man. I dig it, man. That's a dig it. I feel like, it's like having some sort of like signature that like people can identify you right away, you know, because people will remember that. Yeah. Because especially like the show we did last Friday, there's like a billion fucking comics on it, right? I mean, they'll remember you because you were the headliner and you closed out. Yeah. But like just having those trademarks like that, that sticks in the memory. And I feel like it's good to have things like that, Yeah. Like, Nina G?
Yes.
Yeah, she's doing this great thing where I find it hilarious, where she'll just stand in front of like interesting backgrounds and just chew gum for like 10 seconds, and she'll do like a montage of that on Instagram. Like she was just in Vegas.
Oh, that's dope.
So in front of like all like the iconic spots, there's just a video of her just chewing gum, and there's like a montage. But I was telling her I dig it because, one, it's instantly recognizable. One, it's fun and silly. Yeah. It's hella easy to do, so she can do it all the time and keep her face out there in terms of being active on social media, right? So like, to me, it kind of hits all three things that you needed. Because, I come from a videography background. So to me, it's all about low effort but high output.
Right.
That's really what you got to focus on.
Say that again.
Low effort but high output. If
Outstanding.
If you're talking about trying to put any content out, that's really what it's got to be about, man. Because I've made that mistake before,
Man.
Because I came from like doing like branding videos, commercials. I worked on, independent films. I created this web series before where the premise is my friend was this half Italian, half Filipino bartender, really hot chick, right? And she had really this fire starter personality. She had it, man. She had that X factor.
Okay.
So I said, let's do something together. What we can do? What I'm gonna have her do is, we're gonna open up each episode with like a 1 minute sketch, and it's gonna portray like an awkward situation. Like for instance, the first episode was Christmas dinner and a family drama. I played the little kid. It turned out I was adopted.
Okay.
And then she's gonna teach you like a perfect drink to make for the holidays to get out of that situation.
Okay.
So it's like but the problem with that web series was it went great. A lot of people watched it, but I made each episode into a full-on production with a crew and everything. And we spent a whole weekend shooting basically all day, Saturday and Sunday, just to make 3 episodes. It's like, it's not repeatable and none of us are getting paid.
Exactly.
So it's like, it was high effort, low output, and it never went past those first 3 episodes. It was just way too much.
Yeah.
So that's why I said it's all about, in terms of making content, social media, low effort, but high output.
Even with that, I think the interesting thing is everyone wants their, what's that word? We all want our magnum opus. Like we all want our Mona Lisa, right? But to get to those works, you have to do a lot of work to get to those works, right? So even if you did the 3 episodes and like got tired, if they were outstanding, what else do people have to watch after that? Yeah. It's like, I made these really great episodes. Like, I want to see more of what Mike does. It's like, well, that's all we have. We spent so much time on these 3, then they move on to something else. Versus if you did like a bunch of those just 1 minute sketches and then like 1 real episode, like, oh my God, let's watch more of his stuff. So I think part of getting to like that magnum opus of what people want to see, like whether it's a 2-hour movie or like the 1 hour special, even like your best 15, it requires a lot of high output in the beginning to get to that one thing.
Yeah, I guess, when people feel like, let's say Andrew Schultz, right, is probably the hottest comic right now.
Yeah.
There's probably people who feel like he just came out of nowhere, but it's like, nah, that guy's been grinding for years and years to get to that point.
Yeah.
And I think people who, it's kind of like with filmmaking where, like when I was starting in filmmaking and, starting to study it, there's a lot of people who are in love with the idea of filmmaking.
Right.
But once what they see, like the long journey it takes to actually get good and successful, like they drop out. And I feel like people probably feel the same way about comedy. They're in love with the idea of it. And then once they see the reality of the open mic scenes and, how cruel it can be to your souls.
Right.
Honestly.
They're like, yo, this is hard. I have a perfect like analogy for that. One of my good friends, several of my good friends decided to cut their own hair during quarantine.
Okay.
Right. But one of them is all about his haircut. He's like, you know what, bro? I'm just going to do it myself. I'm going to figure it out. Went to eBay, bought all the tools, watched YouTube, everything. Gave himself the most incredible fade that I've ever seen.
Oh.
He was like, Ryan, it took 3 hours. It's like, I'm never doing this again. Because it takes more work than like, it takes more work than we think it takes for certain. And you have to love that to want to do like that simple stuff like that. You know what I mean? Like I actually, it sounds stupid, but I love being on the stair climber, like talking shit to Instagram. I love doing that. Like I like writing. I like going to open mics and getting on stage and just figuring things out, like being like interrupted sometimes and have to just like get things back on track. That's like fun for me. But for some people, as you're saying, that don't actually, they're like, oh, this is a process. I can't just willy-nilly do this. No, it's not like that.
Where does that come from? That, getting set off course and getting yourself back on track. Where does that love of that come from for you?
I think that probably like,
it's very interesting, man. A lot of people would be fazed by that.
It might, like as far as just life, or you mean speaking on stage?
Just in general, because you were saying you like that. You like Well, dude, how did you put it? You put
Like,
it perfectly.
I don't mind being like interrupted while I'm on stage and having to get things back on track. It could be an age thing. Like I got to a point where
Well, how old are you?
I just turned 38 last Saturday.
Damn,
Yeah,
there you go. Yeah, of
yes.
course. Like, it's in one of my bits, right? Black people age even better than Asians. You could easily pass for your 20s.
I've been hearing that a lot, so I keep drinking my water.
Yeah.
I keep drinking my water and keep smiling. Yeah. It's all in the health and positivity.
So you don't mind a little bit of chaos, you're saying?
I don't mind it because I've like when I was younger, my mother and my grandfather would always tell me, they didn't say it like this, but they said whatever happened is not. They basically said everything's your fault. Everything's your fault. But as I got older, what that means is like it may not be your fault, but it's your responsibility. So as I got older, it's like you see the things where every sitcom's like, Dad, those aren't my drugs. That's my friend's jacket. What if it really is your friend's jacket? Get new friends. Yeah. Like there's always a situation where you have to like redirect yourself. And I'm like, okay, well, I can only get better if I know what I did wrong. Like even on a night where I feel like where people are telling me I did well, I'll watch the tape and say, okay, that could have been better. And that's cool because I want to work on something. But if there's like a hiccup or interruption, I'm built for it. Like I left from Richmond. I left from Richmond to get here like 2 hours early and had breakfast and chilled out just because if a truck flips over and I'm late, it's my fault. Even though you'd be like, oh my God, Ryan, I can't believe there was an accident on the 880. So sorry. Hope you're okay. Yeah, that's cool and all. But like I'm late. So I'm all about like redirection and hiccups and speed bumps. That's why it's easy for me to listen, but hard for me to give people advice. Because my advice is, that's going to happen. You'll probably be okay. But when I listen, I'm like, yup, sorry that happened to you. But when I listen too long, the advice is, okay, well, now we got to put our big boy pants on and figure out what to do next. So.
Wow, that's you. I try to live that way too, but you definitely take it to another. I like that you left 2 hours early. You had some breakfast. Put yourself in like a better state of mind too, right? You're not in a rush. That's why I like mics. Well, not so much mics anymore, but shows. I always try to show up a half hour early.
Right.
Because I don't want to be in that mindset where I'm rushed and I'm worried about being late. Now I want to get there and just be chill.
Yeah.
Because to me, that helps me be a better performer if I'm in that mindset where I'm just chill, I'm cool, I'm comfy.
Yeah.
Whereas if I'm just rushing there, sometimes, don't get me wrong, sometimes you can't help it, and maybe the lack of time to think. Literally, you get there and you have to go up. Sometimes there's magic in it, but I just feel like it's just unprofessional.
Right. And don't get me wrong. Like life happens. I've been late in my life, but you come from an athletic background, so there's times where. I don't think you would just show up to a match like 5 minutes before you're supposed to fight someone.
Yeah.
So for basketball, I'd show up early enough to stretch, put on my shoes. I'm showing up in slides, shoot around, get ready, shake hands, network, get my mind right. You know what I mean? So comedy for me is the same way where I like to show up and like see the venue, make sure the sound is cool, find out when I'm going up, see who's going there, find out where I can put my camera at. I don't know, see what the lineup is doing, see what changed, do an Instagram post, whatever, and I can be like, okay, I'm here now. Because rushing to me has never been, for me, like I don't think anyone's good at multitasking. We just do it because they sold us more screens at our desks at work. No one's good at multitasking. So to show up and have to switch gears like that, the science is that it takes like 10 minutes to actually like change your mind to do something differently. Mm-hmm. So if I hop out of my car and got to go on stage immediately, I'd love to be that good where I can do that. And I probably can do it, but I don't choose to do that way.
That's so interesting. Supposedly women are better at multitasking than men, right? It's because the gray matter that connects the two hemispheres of the brains is thicker, and that's what's great for multitasking. I remember even reading something in terms of just productivity. They said you should avoid multitasking. You really just focus on one task. It's just better for your mindset. I remember I started doing that, and because of that, I started being late for everything. It's like I just took it way too far.
Got it.
So I think I'm trying to find that balance now where like maybe a little bit of multitasking isn't bad just to keep me on schedule. But I guess I'm the kind of guy where like my wife tells me all the time, like, I don't need meditation because like when I focus on something, I just literally straight up focus and I don't listen to anything. So it's like, I can take that like, focusing on one thing a little too far.
Okay.
I guess. So
I would say there's definitely a balance. Like depending on, I was talking to one of my good friends about this, comic Nick Foster about Atomic Habits, and we're talking about how when you write a list of something, if you're writing a list of something that you can do immediately, like, I don't know, like text Mike Lisa's phone number. Like, just text Mike now, you know what I mean? So for some things that you can do immediately, I guess multitask those things. Like, if you get a text message that says, oh, running late, is that okay? Okay, running late. I can get back to my paper. But if you get a text message and it's like a paragraph from a friend that's dealing with something, I don't know, that's not the best example. But if it's a paragraph from a friend that always sends you a paragraph, you're like, okay, I'll get to that later. Because Mike always sends these long paragraphs. Everything's going to be fine. Let me finish this part.
Do you have friends like that?
I have all types of friends.
Yeah?
Yeah, I would say not toxic, but just everyone's got different needs, right? I'd stay away from, it's cliche to say I stay away from negativity because that's part of life. That's
I do too.
That's the yin and yang. But I know different people. Some people need different care. And the reason you have to set boundaries and not multitask is because this long ass paragraph will take you out of everything. Because you're like, oh, bro, it's okay. Like, don't worry about it. Eventually, the boba place will reopen. You can get your favorite drink again. You won't have to drive to San Jose to get that drink because it's not a big deal, right?
Yeah.
So I think some multitasking is good to just so it doesn't stack up. But then a lot of it, like, none of us need to text and drive, but we do it because it's 2022 and well, we have to get the text message out. But
you have got your shit together, man.
I watch a lot of YouTube videos and I'm around a lot of like good people, but I'm still a work in progress, bro. Like,
we're all works in progress, but no, your self-awareness and you understanding. I think it's just your age, you know, you're 38 too, and you've probably been through a lot. You've been through a lot of hurdles, you know?
Yeah. And I also credit like my like Bay Area to Valley migration because I met a lot of different people, and this was during a time where it wasn't like Oregon Trail, but it was during a time where there wasn't like social media, the internet wasn't popping. Yeah. So like the Bay Area was like completely different from the Valley. I mean, it is now, but like the trends were different, the people were different. Like black and white people in Manteca were different from black and white people in San Francisco.
That's a good point, man.
And so I was around like a lot of these different people. My mother switched me schools several times when I was in San Francisco. I went to like Bret Hart. I went to Bret Hart like near Double Rock, and then went all the way across the city to this all white school called like Rooftop Elementary. Then like back to Hunters Point GRD. 1 year in Thurgood Marshall, then came to the Valley. So I went back and forth from like Boys in the Hood to Saved by the Bell, Boys in the Saved by the Bell, and just met a bunch of like different type of people and how to like navigate appropriately depending on who I'm dealing with.
Dude, what was that like going to an all white school? How old were you when you went?
When I went to Rooftop the first time, when I went to all white school the first time, I think I was like, that might have been like second grade.
Second grade. I mean, do you even feel the difference? Are you even aware?
Bro, the weirdest thing was like at the time and so to this day, like my first friend is white and Filipino, like from Double Rock, not Double Rock, but like Jamestown, where Candlestick used to be.
Okay.
And we lived in an all black neighborhood, but that was like my first friend because we're the same age. We're still close to this day. So like, and his dad's white, his mom's Filipino. So being around a bunch of white people.
It's always that way. The guy's always the white guy.
Going and being much around a lot of white people, it wasn't that big of a deal. Like I'm like biologically an only child. So I've always had to like, this doesn't sound good, but talk to strangers. So that's how I make friends, man. I've always had to talk to strangers.
They're open. Yeah, you guys good.
I've always had to like talk to strangers. So it wasn't like a massive culture shock to me. Also, bro, like growing up, I watch a disgusting amount of television, right? So I feel like I've seen a lot of stuff. It's like when you mentioned the word I used earlier, yeah, I read, but a lot of it's because I watch everything on television, like Law and Order to like 90 Day Fiance to Sopranos to 60 Days In to Alone, whatever, like comedy documentaries, whatever, Spanish movies, anything. But dealing with that, I just meet people and they're just people. Like it wasn't like, oh my God, the massive culture shock. The biggest culture shock was when I was older and went to an all white school. Like leaving Thurgood Marshall in San Francisco and then going to Manteca, it was like, damn, the school has so much money type of thing. It wasn't the people because they had like the lockers and the Letterman jackets. And this is 1999. This is 1999. So I'm like, oh wait, this is Saved by the Bell. Like these niggas is Zach Morris. And it looked like Saved by the Bell because it was like, there was Zach Morris. All the dudes were Zach Morris. And then all the Spanish dudes were AC Slater. And then Lisa Turtle, all the black people had money. Like, and then the white chicks was bad, like Jesse Spanos and
Kelly Kapowski.
Yeah. And then you didn't really have any screeches, bro. The screeches were goth already at that time. But it was like I was like, oh, this is crazy. Like, there's lockers outside. Like, what are you guys doing? There's archery at PE. So it wasn't a culture shock in like a bad way. It was like, oh, this is the upgrades. What we doing out here? Yeah. Our school had the old Timberwolves logo because we're the Sierra High Timberwolves. We had like a real life NBA logo on our PE t-shirts.
So sort of copyright infringement going on.
Like a mud. Like I still have one of those shirts, but it was like it was a cool type of culture shock that I think kind of like helped me for life. I don't have any ill will about that.
Ooh, okay, that's great, man. Yeah. I love that you referenced Saved by the Bell, man, because I grew up on that show.
I feel like we're
the same generation. Not all of us. I mean, you and I are older than a lot of the comics going around.
That's like after school afternoon. I think at like 4:30 or 5 before Batman.
Yeah,
after school.
Who was your girl on Saved by the Bell?
Man, I really liked. It was a battle, man, back and forth between like Lisa and then Jesse, because like Lisa has so much swag. Like she just has swag, but then Jesse that curly hair.
And the dancing and everything.
Man, it was a battle. Like, it was.
Yeah, like me, because I was all about Kelly Kapowski when I was watching it as a kid, just because it was clear like she was the most popular girl. She was supposed to be the prettiest amongst them. But looking back on it, I was like, yeah, it is between Jesse and Lisa. Like Lisa's fine, man.
When I was younger, I want to say I've always had an interest in people's personalities, right? So when I was younger, like I could tell whether or not like there was someone that didn't talk a lot, but they were probably popping, versus someone that was like talking a lot and they were probably they didn't have the substance. I could always tell that even though they had like Kelly Kapowski, like she's the most popular, her personality was whack. It was just whack. Like Zach doesn't want you, but you think he does want you. But Lisa's got all this swag, and Jesse's dancing, and Kelly's just like, I guess
I fell for it hook, line, and sinker.
Of course, that's cool. Yeah. But in my mind, I was like, there's something about this. I'm like, I don't know, 7 years old. There's something about this girl.
But if you even look back at her, right? She, like, if we're being like completely superficial, like.
She's gorgeous.
She's gorgeous, but like her body is actually the least impressive amongst the three girls. Kelly Kapowski at that time, she's just like skin and bones.
This is true.
It wasn't until she got into 90210. Well, I'm really familiar. Like all the shit I fucked with back in the day.
Was that woman on the 90210?
Yeah, she showed up in 90210, and that's when she started getting really more curvaceous, and she started like showing up on Maxim magazine. I don't even know if Maxim magazine's still around anymore.
She was on Maxim, huh?
Yeah, Maxim, FHM. I don't know. Are those even around still?
I don't know. Are people still doing? Are there still magazines?
I don't know, dude.
No. There's Maxim still has to be around because Slam magazine is still around.
Oh, Slam, that was my jam.
They still make Slam magazine.
Oh,
if you go to the back, the shoe area isn't that dope anymore because you can look at all the shoes online. But that used to be the lick. You go to a grocery store, open the Slam magazine, go to the back, look at the like 10 shoes that are going to come out.
And that takes me back, man.
Yeah.
Yes. I would buy every issue every month. So I should have just subscribed to the damn thing. It would have been cheaper, but...
Yeah, you can't subscribe to a magazine. Because they'll send them and then you won't read them. And then, like, I had a Men's Health subscription once. Biggest waste of my money of all time.
Yeah.
Because, you buy it because the cover is dope in the store. They got all the cool tips about making asparagus taste like bacon without putting bacon on it, right? And then when you order them, you get like 70 of them. You don't read them all. They're stacking up and you're like... There's this like what's the word? I forget the word, but it's like this tower of this dedication of magazines on your coffee table that you're not going to read. It's just dedication of them.
I subscribe to Men's Health too.
Mausoleum of Men's Health magazines.
You're pulling out all the fancy vocabulary today.
When I step over a word, it sucks. I think about it. It's got to be off the top.
No,
usually.
that like the other day I was actually trying to think of this word harem.
Okay.
But like it took me a good 15 minutes of just focusing on nothing. It's like, what is this fucking word? I didn't want to look it up because it was at the tip of my tongue.
Was it for a joke?
No, it was just I was thinking about Leslie Lang because I'm going to get Leslie Lang up on the next round of podcasts that I'll record next week. And I was just thinking about her and how she just collects these younger men. Have you met Leslie Lang?
I haven't.
Leslie Lang's fantastic. I'm not gonna guess her age.
She collects younger men,
but she's a cougar. She's this attractive older woman who's active.
Okay.
Say
she's got a harem.
Yeah, exactly.
Shout out to her.
I was trying to think of that word. Like, what's that word to describe that of this collection of essentially lovers. I'm really like putting it out there about Leslie right now.
Yeah, it's fine.
Leslie, I'm so sorry, but you can redeem yourself when I get you on the podcast.
Was there, when you were trying to get to harem, was there another word that kept popping into your mind that wasn't it?
It wasn't even close.
What is it? What was it?
It was something like, it wasn't mandingle, but it's like
was it concubine?
No, it wasn't concubine, but it wasn't even close.
Something stupid.
Yeah, something stupid, but it's like
goes.
But when I finally got harem, I was so proud of myself.
Yeah.
It's like yes.
That's how it be.
I got it. I didn't have to look it up. But yeah, so I know exactly what you're talking about. How the hell did we get on that? But getting back on Saved by the Bell, it wasn't until Boyz II Men on Bended Knee, the music video came out. You remember each one of them had a fine lady that they were apologizing to on that music video. And it was, correct me if I'm wrong, it wasn't Sean. It might have been fucking Nate or Wanye, who had Lisa as their girlfriend that they were applying to. And
Lisa's in that video?
She's in that, and she's looking so fine. And that's when I realized, oh yeah, Lisa was the one for me.
Okay.
Like looking back on it. Yeah.
That Boyz II Men year was popping because there was 2 dope singles, right? There was Down on Bended Knee. There was one other one.
There was 3 main ones, right? I'll Make Love to You. That was the first single.
That's on that album.
Yeah, that's on that album.
Right. Okay.
I'll Make Love to You. On Bended Knee, and then Water Runs Dry came out, and that just took over the one, right? Yeah, dude, you talking about my time, dude.
That album, that album has the words in it.
Yeah, back in the day, that's what they used to do.
I
right?
had that album, and that man, bro, those dudes they used to go hard. That and the KC JoJo.
Yeah, KC
All My Life album.
Oh, like dude, that's my high school days, man.
Yeah, man, that's
dude,
right.
that Boyz II Men 2 album. Because I don't know about you, but like when I was in high school, I would just listen to the same shit over and over and over again.
I was a hype beast. That's what I'm saying. Like my like closest friend, being a Filipino hype beast. I fell into his hype beastness. So we was listening to all the singles. We listened to Mace Feel So Good over and over and over and over again.
We're basically the same age. Those are all the music that we listen to.
Yeah, man. Mace Feel So Good. Usher, You Make Me Wanna. DMX, Cisco, What These Bitches Want From a Nigga. Like those, that like era of like that like year and a half before Ja Rule popped up on the Can I Get A with Jay-Z.
Yeah.
Like before Ja Rule popped up on Can I Get A, which is the soundtrack from Rush Hour. Right before that year and a half, R&B which was going crazy. Yeah. Then Ja Rule popped up. I was like, oh. And then everything was over.
Still DMX's whole thing, right? Dude, when Usher, You Make Me Wanna came out, that blew my mind away. I've never seen anyone dance like that, dude. And I was trying to copy that shit.
Yeah, man. Nobody knew what was happening.
Yeah.
No one knew what was happening. Because at the time, Michael Jackson was still alive, but he was like alive and weird. And still dancing fast. But this Usher, like,
what he was
moving
doing,
like there's Vaseline on my shoes thing and singing.
Yeah.
And he seemed like he was our age, kind of.
Yeah.
So it was like, all right, I guess this is our friend. Then he had these goggles on. Oh, you're wearing goggles during the daytime? All right, cool. I'm going to wear goggles too.
Yeah. Oh, man. Yeah. He was so
fake
impressive.
Ass Tommy Garrett goggles.
And I would try to copy all his moves and everything. I was fucking Filipino, right? Of course.
Were you an Asian that could dance or no?
You know what? It's funny. I sort of could have, because I got into it for all the wrong reasons, right? When I was 12 years old.
All the wrong reasons at 12?
Well, it's all the right reasons, really. Because I've always been a basketball guy. You know, I grew up on Jordan. I was playing basketball all day, every day. That was my thing. That was my jam. And then when I was in 6th grade, that's when Crisscross came out and all the TLC. That's when they popped on the scene.
Okay.
And all the baggy clothes. So what we called it back in the day was called being a houser.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, that word.
Yeah, that word. You remember that word? Being a houser.
You just said houser?
Yeah. That shows you all that. But that's when that popped, dude. 1992, when I was 12 years old. That's when all that came around. TLC, wearing all the super baggy clothes, crisscross, baggy clothes backwards, wearing condoms, it's accessories, right, in the package.
Yeah, immature baggy clothes.
Yeah, exactly. What's it called? Cross colors, right? Super. So that all popped, and and breakdancing was a part of that scene. And here I am playing basketball, and I saw that's where all the girls were at. I was like, okay, that's what I gotta do then. Let me go over there and do that. So, I started like hanging out with those people, and I learned just like 1 or 2 moves just so I could break into the circle.
Dope.
So I was really good at 1 or 2 moves because that was just enough. My agenda was just to get those girls, right, to be in that circle. So I was kind of sort of into it, but not really. It's just like I just wanted to learn enough to be in there, but I wasn't dedicated to it at all.
I get it.
Yeah, but I mean, I guess like most Filipinos, the rhythm's in my body. Like, I can dance to a song.
You can probably sing too.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Easy.
I'm a triple threat.
He said, "Oh yeah, bro." Don't even question me.
Yeah, I'm a triple
karaoke
threat.
king.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, understood.
Yeah, karaoke black belt, dude. 10th degree karaoke black belt. But this is So. Yeah, I kind of sort of could dance in terms of breakdance. I mean, I'll vibe to a song easily. Yeah. But I was never up there in terms of breakdancing. Definitely my friends who are more dedicated to it, because I didn't realize it's kind of like gymnastics. You had to work hard at it.
Yeah, man. Just like we were talking about crafts earlier. Yeah. Like you see all the stuff, but like you don't see how much those guys have to like fall and land on their neck and scrape themselves and be sore. Because it is gymnastics on the floor. Like, it's crazy. Especially when, like, you and Luis were talking about ABDC on your episode, America's Best Dance Club or whatever. Those Jabberwocky dudes started doing that. Now they do a show in Vegas, but that takes hella practice. Like, throwing each other in the sky and spinning on your head. I think here's the thing. When it comes to breakdancing or dancing, I think that's like some of the most underrated shit on the planet. Spinning on your head... on your head, like your body's that's not where it's supposed to be. I don't know. Shout out to them, man. I can't believe you knew 2 moves.
Dude, they were like the 2 easiest moves. All right, I could do the Russian kick.
Okay.
All right, and then I had variations on the Russian kick. So it's kind of like Malcolm Gladwell's 10,000 hours. Like I really specialize in that move. I can do all sorts of variations that I move. Yeah. And then I could do was what we called the caterpillar back in the day, but people call it the worm.
Oh, it was a caterpillar originally.
Yeah, we do that with your whole body on the ground. Right. So I could do that real well. So those are my 2 jabs right there. That's the extent.
That move is underrated too. Like you're slamming your ribs on the ground.
Yeah.
Were you into? Is any of that on video? Like were you in the film yet at that time?
No, because this is like 1992. You got to remember, like
when a camera was $7,000.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Not everyone had a video camera, man.
That's my only envy I have towards maybe it's a gift and a curse towards our younger cohorts is that all of their younger stuff is on tape. Well, not so much like maybe like not so much Generation Z, but maybe like younger millennials, like people that were born in people that were born like 2005. They have like a lot of dope baby picture video stuff. These people are fucked. Everything's on tape. Like I think it's kind of horrible to see a video of yourself being 7 at this point, like 20 years from now. But I think there was like a time probably when like the first Sprint video phone came out and all the pictures are dope. Or like the first time you dunked the basketball is on tape somewhere. Versus now all of us just have a story about one time I had a soccer ball, 3 people were there and I dunked it and I did it and it was dope. There's no video. There's no video at all.
So you dunked the soccer ball.
I dunked the soccer ball once.
Hey, that's still I know because when you play ball, that is the goal, right?
Fun fact.
So it's nice to be able to grab rim. That's all I could do is ever grab rim. I could never dunk.
Yeah, it took all the might in the world to get that done. Yeah. But I was gonna ask you about this. Now that I found out you're a filmmaker, it makes more sense because I've always appreciated the way that you document or you try to do all of them, all your nights out. Yeah. Because that's what I'm saying. Like when you mentioned like high output earlier, eventually like once you're popping, your documentary be so easy to make because you do these reviews of the nights you go out. Yeah. Which is ill as hell because I think the last one, I watched one you did and you were like, yo, I tried to go to 3 mics tonight. That's not for me. Nope. Anyone else that it was 3, right? Yeah, anyone else that wants to do 3, all good. The first 2, okay, but 3, too much for me, not my speed. I think that's helpful for people to hear that type of stuff because I don't think all of us are supposed to do it in that way. And I think there's been this mold that's been given to every comic. You got to get up as much as possible every night, if possible, 10 times a night for 7 nights in a row. Like, that's not feasible. When people don't go up that many times, they start feeling bad. But if 3 doesn't work for you and you're like 2 is cool, I think you can get what you need done if you concentrate on those 2. Yeah. So I like, what made you document what made you review all your nights out on mics?
You know what it is really it's really my interest in stand-up comedy before I ever became a comic. It's like I enjoyed watching it, but I also knew there's a process behind it, right? There's a grind. So for me, it's like I'm just trying to put out there what I would have wanted to see. Like if I was interested in doing stand-up comedy, I would have loved to see someone just being honest about their experience, trying to do it.
Yeah.
Like, hey, you guys said, like, yeah, I'll talk about it when it's great, but I'll talk about it when it's a horrible night too. Because I feel like it's even more important when things don't go well to put it out there.
Yeah.
And show, it's not all fucking victories,
It's not.
There can be some rough spots, but I'm going to do my best to try to kind of give you a perspective of why it went rough or why it went good. And just try to give people, who are not in stand-up comedy, but who are interested, to give you a peek into the world of it. But just to fellow comics out there too, to just realize like, hey man, we're not all crushing it.
Right.
It's okay.
Right.
Like we'll have our ups and downs, and I'm gonna be as honest as possible. I'm not trying to imply like I have this like image of myself out there that I'm just crushing it all over the place. So obviously, I don't think I have that image at all. But I just like to be honest about where I'm at with stand-up comedy. Like I said, I like to put things out there because I feel like there is value in it for comics, and also my mindset is at the end of the day, when like let's say 5 years from now, when we're really starting to do shows, hitting the road, what it comes down to is really being able to put butts in the seats.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So anything you can do to build your following now as you're going up, I just think that's probably one of the best things you can do. So by the time you do pop 5, 6 years, 7 years from now, you're going to have your true following and you're going to be able to sell tickets and put butts in seats.
Yeah.
But essentially, that's really what it's going to come down to. Because as you see, at our level now, there's already a lot of funny comics, right?
Yeah.
And then as you go further and further up, there might not be as many, but the quality is just even better, right?
Yeah.
So like, yeah, they can get funny comics anywhere, but can you sell tickets?
Yeah. Can you bring people?
Yeah, that's what it's about.
That's why that whole TI thing that was happening several months ago was interesting, because it's like within our community there's I guess conflict and vitriol, if you will, but then to the consumers, they don't care.
No.
TI's gonna be there. Okay, cool. I just want to go. Like they're just gonna go.
Yeah.
So I think that's the business aspect that I guess isn't talked about enough, or it's talked about, but you don't want to say it out loud, type of thing. But I asked you that question just because, I'd say that what you're trying to do by doing that is dope, because there's times when like I couldn't make it out. Like I'll be leaving Antigua because I got to go work in Emeryville, so I'm going to my spot in Richmond, right? And I see your video, like I went up tonight and this is what happened. I'm like, well, that's my man's. So I kind of feel like I went up. like how Mike's like, yeah, it was cool. I told this joke. It kind of hit, but the crowd was like this. The stage was built this way. So-and-so got a good laugh. It was all right. I'm like, damn, I feel like I was there.
Yeah.
So like the quick just breakdown and synopsis of the night you're giving out, I find it helpful. I like it. So keep it up, man. I'm really enjoying that.
You know what? That's one of those things where I've gotten a lot of good feedback from comics on that. They said they really liked it. It's just like, okay, that's cool. I mean, it's not getting many views, but I don't really. I mean, it's kind of the funny thing because I've been, like I said, I'm a videographer,
right,
and I've had my YouTube channel for 2 years now. There's this kind of weird dichotomy, like that word there. I'm trying to pull out. Yeah, there you go. Trying to pull out the vocabulary to you.
Solid word.
No, but there is this weird, like I would say like dichotomy where when you're trying to put out content to build your audience, well, the end goal is building an audience, but at the same time, you can't have that be your priority when you're making the content too, right? Yeah. It's got to be like coming from within and so it's just weird. Like, so like, I know there's not a lot of people like watching it right now, but at the same time, the people who do fuck with it, they're like true followers. And so you just need to, over time, you just need to slowly collect those true followers over time. So that's kind of, that's essentially, why I do it.
It's one of those things where like you do it now and comics watch it. And then when you blow in like 3 years, have y'all seen the Mike recap from 2020 when he went to it? People are sharing it.
You can
have
follow
no idea
the journey,
what it is.
Right?
Yeah, because people want it's hard for people to follow you when you're not popping yet. But then once people tell other people that it's cool to follow what you're doing. That's like, all right, great. I'm going to follow what Mike's doing because my friend said it's dope to look into what he's doing. Yeah. That's how popularity works, unfortunately.
Yeah. Are you doing anything to try to build, your followership as you, like, what are you focusing on to build your fan base?
I would say I used to be really bad at posting on Instagram. Like I would story some shit up, like stuff, right? But I was really bad at like posting. So I think probably this year I don't know what the number is, but I posted more times this year than like I have since I've had my IG. And I could tell that it's how an algorithm works, right? Like because we are the algorithm for ourselves. As you post more, the stuff you do is shared more. So it's like, and I know that at times the enemy is the good. No, perfection is the enemy of the good, right? So if it's not perfect, we won't even do what's good. But we have to do what's good to eventually get to perfect, which doesn't exist. I say that to say that I was like, well, this video has to be this way. This has to be this picture has to be this. I want to make sure this is in line with this. Now I post my show, I post the flyer, I post like a black and white picture. So there's a whole row of my IG where everything's black and white. Whether it's a quote or it's a picture of me, that whole section is like black and white. So it kind of separates it from what
that's
from
great,
what a couple
dude.
other ones look like. And then I started doing what some of the other comics do is put like, I think I got this from Colin Casados. I put my show dates like on my profile, like right under my picture. So if people go to there, they can just see like, oh, you're a working comedian, that type of thing. And then I also post, I used to be, shout out Jordan Qualabom. I used to be really, it's not insecure, but protective of like posting clips or whatever, because my jokes or whatever. But there's certain things I won't post, things I've been working on. But as far as small crowd work things or just reaction things or common things, I'll post those just because I want people to see what I'm doing. And I want to like share that laughter. Not really like, not so much for the following, but because I told this joke, it was in the moment. There's not a lot of context, but maybe you can understand what this sentence is and you'll laugh at it. Like the lady with the bald head at Sharice, shout out Sharice. She talked about my forehead. I talked about her head, made like a Will Smith joke. I posted that so people could see it. So that's what I'm doing to like try to build it. But to echo what you said earlier, the goal isn't to really like build more followers. The goal is to just be more active about promoting like my craft, because people should know what you do. I think for all of us artists that you don't want an Instagram or you don't want a Facebook, okay, fine, I get it. But what are you doing to like show your craft that you care about it? Like your craft is your craft. So what are you doing for your craft to let other people know? Because the idea is for people to know about it. You want people to know that you're talented, because then you feel good from what you get back from them and from other artists as well. Unless you just want to do all your work in a basement, that's cool. Like, fine. But the whole, like, I don't want to do that because I don't want to get sucked into social media. I mean, we're adults, right? And I have friends that I get it. If social media is like crack for you, you can't open Instagram without like chopping up your phone and snorting it. I understand. However, if you're doing a show, you want people to know about it, you got to put it on your page. Yeah. So
that's just kind of the reality of it. Yeah.
It's kind of the reality.
Yeah, I know. Because I'm not, like, by nature, I'm not a social media kind of guy.
Right.
I really couldn't give two fucks, to be perfectly. I know it's hard to believe because, I do a podcast, I do those wrap ups and everything. But I really, if it wasn't needed, for what we're doing, I wouldn't fuck with it at all. That's just not my thing. Like, but, go as a videographer, I just had to accept the reality, like, yeah, I need to show that I'm doing work.
Yeah.
People need to see my work in order to get work. That's just kind of the reality.
Right. I mean, if you go back to, we were talking about none of our stuff is like children's on tape unless you're like a Kennedy or something, right? Because they have the money to have a video camera. I remember in Full House, like Danny Tanner, R.I.P. Bob Saget, this huge camera. They were walking around. They could like film Michelle because it costs that much money. Yeah. But I think there's filmmakers who would, maybe not so much comedians because some of the intimacy is lost, but there's so many like filmmakers I would think that like, I don't know, 40, 50 years ago would kill to be able to like have 100 people see their video. Yeah. Like just their spec. To 100 people see this thing that I can do, like on YouTube now, it's like, that's not a lot, but 100 people watch what you made. I'm sure Quentin Tarantino would have loved to have that when he was working at Blockbuster, to just have a couple of people see the sample of his film. Yeah. So even your point, I didn't have Facebook for 1,000 years until my Stockton homies were like, no, you got to get that. Because that's where the groupies are at to tell you when the shows are. Okay, bet. I had no idea. Cool. One of my other friends is like, you got to get an Instagram, man. If you're doing comedy, like, what are you doing? Like, I don't want to get sucked in. I don't want to get Instagram. So I made it before I started going to Comedy Spot, because that's where people communicate at. No one has anyone's phone number. You want to do a show? DM you. You want to do a show? Instant Messenger. That's our That's our phone book. Our parents had a phone book, right? That's how they figured. Our parents had a phone book and 411. That's where all the information was at. So now that's what this is. That's what Facebook is.
Do you feel like, I mean, since I'm assuming since social media is not really like in your nature as well, do you feel like that prevents you from getting sucked in? Do you get sucked into like Instagram and Facebook? You're just scrolling on that for?
I get sucked in to reels sometimes, but I wouldn't say sucked in because a lot of the reels I watch, all the reels I watch are things I used to watch on YouTube before. Like if I wasn't, there's this DJ Khaled video that's like 4 minutes, and he's on a Hot Night. I don't know if he's on Hot 97, the one with Ebro in there. And he does this. Yeah. It's this 5 minute like montage of him saying never fold, like never give up. I've been through some shit. He's sitting in the thing. I love that video. Yeah. I've seen it 1,000 times. It's 5 minutes. I've seen it 10,000 times, I'm sure. So now I just watch stuff like that on Reels. So I get sucked into that, just hearing people say great things. But as far as like scrolling through people's pictures, not so much. That's not really my thing. I live on the story because as a child, I talk to myself. So the story's dope. I didn't even know there was a way to find out how many people watch your story till like one of my friends told me.
Oh, okay.
And I found out, oh, people watch this shit? I just be on there talking shit. Especially once they made it like a minute long. Once it got to, I was like, oh my God, you can just talk forever. Like, that's super. So I don't, and then another reason why I was like, as a comic, a lot of the stuff I try to write is current. I don't write a lot of current event stuff, but if I show up and something's topical, I think I can like write a long joke about it. Like the alien joke, I'll tell that forever. But some stuff is like, okay, well, what's going on in the world that I can write a joke about? So I'll get sucked into that, but not hours of like liking people's pictures and ESPN. I don't. Not that.
Look at that hot girls on Instagram. Instagram thoughts.
Not that. I feel like, I don't know, honored that I didn't get sucked into that because a lot of my boys have that stuff. Not a lot of my boys, but people I hear complain about it. They're like, there's always just naked bitches on Instagram. No, bro, you follow naked bitches on Instagram. Like,
they're trying to at least be thrown at them, right? It's not going to show up on your feed unless you're on your
feed, man. It's like I heard this person do a actually I won't front when I first like got back into fitness. When I first got my IG. I used to follow a lot of trainers, and a lot of them was bad bitches. After a while, liking those pictures, a lot of thoughts end up in your feed. Yeah. And I watched a video about just on like an Instagram dump for your brain. I was like, all right, cool. So I just unfollowed a bunch of stuff and followed like new stuff, like finance things, stock things, production things, comedy things, stuff like that. So I think if that's helpful for people, like maybe you don't know that you can unfollow things, but you can. Yeah. So yeah, I try to avoid getting sucked in. Long answer, long as shit.
Yeah, it's like on Instagram, one thing I find funny is if you go to the search tab and you see the recommendation, it says a lot about you. What you're looking at is like, so what are we gonna find if you go to your search tab on Instagram?
If you go to my search tab, it'd be a lot of basketball highlights. Shit, take a look at it. Honestly.
Yeah, take a look. Let's see. I'll take a look at mine. Let's compare what's all there, dude.
Here.
This is gonna be funny.
There you go.
All right. Let's see. Let's go to search. All right. So yeah, got football. You got Kanye basketball. A lot of motivational stuff. Okay, you got some financial stuff like that. Not seeing any thoughts at all. Look at you. I can see a few memes here. Look at you, man.
I gotta get down, man. I walk it like I talk it, man. I walk it like I talk it.
Yeah, so mine looks like I got some animal stuff.
Okay.
Got basketball. I don't know what that fat girl's doing there. I don't know. She's there.
Hey, man, nobody's shaming.
I got a shirtless dude there.
That's cool.
I do a lot of fitness stuff.
Don't be a shirtless dude. Like, it's okay.
I got one hot girl there. So it's fairly balanced, you know. Yeah. It's not just a bunch of thoughts.
I've seen the ones that are wild. Yeah. Like I've seen, but I recommend that anybody do that because a lot of like, I don't know, honestly, like the way our media is set up, you can see bad bitches anywhere. like they're everywhere.
They are.
They're everywhere. You can clear up your feed and follow some other stuff. Yeah. You're like, how come no one ever tells me the real news? Like, bro, like you don't want the real news. Well, not the real news, but why don't I know about this thing? You can find out about it. We have like, I don't know, NASA in our pocket from 1976. You know what I mean? But yeah, man, I try not to get sucked in too much, but sometimes it's entertaining.
Nah, dude, I'm so proud of us right now. What showed up in our searches? It is like, yeah, like we're grown men. It's like,
yeah, man, it's it's a good feeling sometimes because like I was on Facebook the other day and like
that's looking at someone's soul right there, honest. That
that's looking at somebody's soul, bro. That's why I don't mind. Here, take my phone. We can look at all you want. Like I don't. Yeah, and it's weird because the algorithm does say a lot about you, right? Like one of my friends, he's a big Cowboys fan or whatever. Shout out my homie Vernon from Arizona, and he posted something about the Cowboys. And I just made a comment. He's talking about Zeke Elliott, and I was like, he made a comment. I was like, I think he's great. And then suddenly Facebook's like, Cowboy posts, bro, because I talked to my boy about this. So whatever you do, they're gonna be like, oh yeah, more bad bitches. Oh yeah, more crack. Like it's just.
So what about your YouTube feed? What does your YouTube feed look like?
YouTube feed is primarily Jordan Peterson, and Jordan Peterson right now it's like fight drama.
Oh, you fuck with Jordan Peterson?
I mean, rock with Jordan Peterson. I have these YouTube, what's it called? These YouTube waves. So like last week, it was all of the Jake Paul Rockman thing, and I'm not even that into fighting. But I was super into like the drama,
the shit talking
because they're gonna fight on my birthday. I was super into it. You know what I mean? And then sometimes like somebody random a diss somebody. Like I was really into the Monique D.L. Hewley thing when it was going back and forth. Haven't been in the NBA a lot because they're talking about the same thing, but I still get sucked in because I'm like, yo, I want to hear something different. I've watched every Kyrie and KD video, and they won't tell me anything different. And then sometimes like as a YouTube terrorist, like I'll go into other people's communities and they just cause trouble. So
I've never heard that before.
What I mean by that is like I think you're a commentary terrorist if you go to someone else's community and cause trouble. What I mean by that is like I'm a big Rick Ross fan, right? If I go watch a Rick Ross YouTube video and people are in the comments talking shit like, bro, you're not supposed to be here. But I do that sometimes too. So like today they're talking about how like these guys were talking about how KD, they hate this part of KD and Kyrie's legacy. They hate how much it's affecting the legacy. And I wrote this comment like essentially like the only reason we know that this is happening is because you guys have told us. Like we wouldn't have found this out. I'm sure people have requested trades before, but you guys talked about Kyrie for 12 months and he only played 20 games. So you guys are doing this, but I'm sure, but other comments like, yeah, they're ruining your legacy, because it's an echo chamber, and I don't think that's how I kind of stay away from drama. You should stay away from other people's echo chambers, their communities. But sometimes I just do it, like because I don't like this happening. Like I'm a commentator on what's happening in our society, so sometimes some of my like comic edge got to come out, like, hey, all this is happening is your fault.
You just got to get it out somehow.
Yeah.
Right?
So Jordan Peterson right now, some of Patrick Bet David.
I've heard that name. I don't know if I've ever actually.
He's a insurance salesperson turned high-level podcaster like Joe Rogan, but more of like personal responsibility and finance and things like that.
What does he look like?
He's a Middle Eastern guy.
Okay, I know exactly what you're talking about. Yeah. He's got like 2 or 3 other people around him. Like he's got like this like slanted desk set up. And I know exactly what you're talking about. And
like when the Brendan Schwab special came out, and like comedians hated him. And people were talking badly about him. I wanted to catch up over what's happening. So I go to YouTube for like my news, kind of a little bit of Trevor Noah, find out what's going on with Trump and these papers, stuff like that. The YouTube feed's random. Like my Instagram will always say basketball and motivation and like workouts and memes. But the YouTube, whatever is happening, I'm about to be like, let me watch 10 videos about this shit.
Yeah, because out of like, do you consider YouTube social media? It's weird. Like for me, I use the word social media because other people use the word social media. Like I view all these things as communities because I comment a lot. So I know some people just like they'll scroll through Instagram a lot. Like I'll scroll and like leave a comment. We'll go back and forth with someone. Thought exchange. For YouTube, I consider that social media because like it's media and I'm being social with people. But I don't consider it like social media in the negative aspect the way the word is used. Like I view all this stuff as like commentary because I like talking to people. Yeah, because that's the one that really sucks me. Like fucking last night, man, I was gonna go to bed at 1:30. I get on YouTube and I go down my rabbit holes as usual, and I'm going to bed at 3 because it's just fucking.
And that's my thing. Like I know Instagram is considered social media because I watch reels and I rock with these reels. I'm like, nah, this is like good for my soul. So it's not. And I'm telling someone, hey, isn't this so good? This is so good. They go to YouTube, the same thing. So it's not social media, but it is.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if I can say like what I watch is good for my soul. I mean, like we have very similar like interests. I got a lot of basketball stuff on there.
Yeah.
A lot of like Jordan Peterson pops up on my stuff.
Yeah, man, all day.
I fuck with Jordan Peterson. The only thing I don't like about him is, why does he sound so angry all the time? Yeah, I do. No, you shouldn't do it. Think about it. It's like Why are you so angry, dude?
I don't know. I don't know what happened with the. You know what? This is what happened. What I think happened was once he blew up from people that were so happy about what he was saying. What ended up happening was like when you take out the sound bites, like, and people are interviewing him in these ways where it's like, what do you mean all people have to do is clean their room? And they're not listening to his whole commentary. It becomes frustrating to him. Mm-hmm. Like I've seen interviews where people are like, well, that's not how people that say things. So I'm like, well, that's not how you feel. He's like, no, that's what I said this. You're saying I said something else. That's when his like voice gets up because he talks so much. Yeah. To steal a soundbite from him and then throw it at him is like whack. Like, okay, let's say there's like, I don't know, there's 25 Color Me Mike episodes, 35?
Yes. No, 20 something.
20 something. Okay. I don't, based on age and like YouTube presence, I think Jordan Peterson may have more hours on YouTube than you. So if someone stole a soundbite from you, okay, I understand. But he has like hours and hours of lectures. So to choose like 7 words and say, you said you hate women. Of course he's gonna be pissed off. But I don't like the way his marketing team is marketing him into this pigeonhole of Darth Vader despair thing. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah,
I don't like the way they're forcing him into that thing because that's not his thing. Like he's more.
It's not.
It's always so like. It's almost to me. It's more like positive.
It is.
Like moving forward. These like biblical stories about Jonah not fulfilling his obligation to the Lord throwing him in the ocean. And that's what happens when you don't fulfill your obligations. You don't follow your gifts. Things get worse for you. So those stories are dope. But the way they have him zeroed in on this thing with that new place he signed up, One Digital, One Wire, whatever.
Oh, yeah,
I think it's them that are like, yo, do this 1 minute of this. And they kicked him off Twitter. So what do you expect to happen?
Well, that's because he was commenting on Sports Illustrated swimsuit edition, right? Something like that. Yeah,
commented on the
which I mean, I do agree with them, but fucking, Brian Simpson, the comic Brian Simpson
from Netflix, right?
Yeah,
the guy with the guy with the Abraham Lincoln Black people penny joke.
Yeah,
so good.
But he.
That guy, go ahead, man. That guy's great.
But he I was listening to him on Joe Rogan, and he made a good point. It's like, he loves Jordan Peterson, but he doesn't go to Jordan Peterson for that, commentate like it's talking about, oh, this woman's not attractive, sorry.
Right.
Like you're the intellectual, I go to you for like intellectual stuff. You should be more like a mild-mannered and really put well thought out, statements.
Yeah.
Like anyone can say, oh yeah, this girl's fucking fat, sorry, not attractive.
Yeah, I think that's what happens though when you end up when popularity comes. Because like 10 years ago, him doing that wouldn't have mattered. Him just being a college professor, and he probably has done that on Twitter, probably somewhere before. But because of where he's at now, you can't really go into like that community, as I mentioned. You can't go to that community and then say, this is disgusting, this is unattractive. No person would ever do this. Some people can, like me and you can. As comedians, we can do that. But like that guy, that's about like personal responsibility and not blaming other people for your problems. You can't go and do. You can, but you probably shouldn't go and do that.
Yeah.
Even though you want to, because you're part of the entertainment sphere now, but now you're stepping outside of your lane. But it's hard not to, because of course you want to give your opinion on things. It's a hard place to be in almost.
It is, because it's like what it is like. How Joe Rogan had a serious impact on the Hillary Clinton Trump election, right?
Yeah,
because he was so anti-Hillary, and then part of me was a little turned off by it just because he was kind of misrepresenting the gravity of Trump and Hillary. He's trying to like make it as if Hillary was on the same level, like her faults were on the same level as Trump would be. It wasn't realistic what Trump was gonna do once in office. But at the same time too, it's like, this is a fucking podcast, man. The guy's supposed to control what his thoughts are. The whole point is just to be, like a stream of your consciousness and be honest with what you think. And then at the end of the day, so it's like, oh, no, just be fucking honest. And, it's like, just because he's got a big following, he's not supposed to be honest anymore and just fucking.
That's what I mean. Yeah, especially like, 3 hours.
Yeah.
And then he got criticism for the opposite several weeks ago because he had a conversation. Basically, we're like, "Hey, would you ever have a Trump?" He's like, "Nah, exactly, I don't want to help him. I'm not political like that. I don't really get involved." And it was spent as like he said he doesn't want to help Trump, so he's choosing a side. Like, no, he's not saying that. He's just saying he doesn't want to participate in what's going on.
Yeah.
Like, but he has an opinion. But I think it is big to say, like, nah, I can't. I don't I'm not interested in that. I only want to have people on that I'm interested in, which I think is dope for him, because the reason is his podcast guest list is so eclectic because he only talks to people that he wants to speak to. I'm not saying there's not like a little bit of Hollywood push sometimes, but primarily if you're talking to people for 3 hours, those are people that you want to speak to more than likely. So if you got like some brother that works on Teslas, to Andrew Schultz, to like psychiatrists that stop people from drinking coffee, to wrestlers, to boxing trainers, bro, like that's an eclectic audience. I can't even say I'm a fan of the show, not in a negative way, but because it's so random, it's always something there for me. It's like me saying I'm a fan of the refrigerator. No, I'm just a fan of what's in it sometimes. That's what Joe Rogan's podcast is like. It's something for everybody, and I love it.
Yeah, that's dope. Why I fuck with JRE. That's my main podcast, and that's why when I see like, you know, people kind of misrepresent what he's about.
Of course,
it's just like, you guys don't listen. That's the thing. You don't listen to the show.
No, and the cold part is, bro, like people don't want to listen. Yeah, that's the thing when I was talking about like stealing somebody's soundbite. So when the thing went around, so I hang out on Twitter a lot, and when the thing went around of him saying he doesn't want to help Trump, there were comments like, "Oh, now he doesn't want. He's been this, and he would support this, and now he doesn't." I'm like, wait, what? What do you want? Like, he never even rocked with him before. Like, Joe Rogan's denouncing. He's not denouncing. Like, what? So it's really people. It's easier for people to build arguments on things if they only have no context in several words. Because once you got to dig deeper, your argument's gone. That's why with comics, like I enjoy hanging around my comedian friends, because a lot of times we have a thought that's been thought out and written about. It may not be the best idea, but this idea is going to help you like see something from a different perspective. Okay. That's why when someone takes a line of our joke and says, this guy says that abortions are outstanding, it's like, so you didn't take the time to listen to the whole joke because your rebuttal against the whole joke doesn't make any sense. So it's easier for people to argue on sound bites. Yeah. Which is unfortunate.
That's, you know, we're at an hour 10 now.
For real?
Yeah.
Damn, bro, this was a great time.
It goes by quick, right?
Man.
Yeah. And we were worried, right? Because, you know, you got here really early. I was still setting up, and we were already chatting. And it's like, but that's the thing, you know, you never run out of things to talk about. You know, it's just like I said, I bring people who I know are going to be good anyway, who I'm genuinely interested in, kind of like Joe Rogan. I'm not saying I'm Joe Rogan, but yeah, there's always going to be something to talk about. So,
you're Boba Rogan. You're Boba Rogan.
I'm trying, you know. So, Ryan, let's tell people, how can they find out where you're going to be at next for stand-up comedy?
Yo, tomorrow, when does this drop?
Well, this is not going to drop until next week. So
okay, all good. So on Thursday, August 18th, I'll be at Tommy T's Comedy Club in Livermore. Okay. And then come through. I got tickets. If you want to come see me, we're all good. DM me at Ryan Humor. I got a couple tickets on deck. I'm also producing a show in Valley Springs, August 27th. Colin Casados is going to be the headliner. That's Valley Springs, California. And I'm also going to be hosting Cap's Pizza open mic from October through the end of December. That's in Stockton, California, every second and fourth Tuesday. Okay. You can pull up every second and fourth Tuesday whenever you want, but I'll be hosting it every second and fourth Tuesday starting October 2022. But pull up to Tommy T. It's going to be a really dope show. Should be a good time. Okay, and then is there a website or people can follow you? What are your socials and all that? My social is at Ryan Humor. That's RyanHumor. That's on Instagram. And the same thing on Twitter. And the same thing on YouTube. Nice, and you got them all. And podcast is the Dell Ryan Report that's on YouTube. And then for Instagram, it's at the Dell Ryan Report. Nice. So how often do you do that podcast? We do that weekly. We've been doing that We've been doing that weekly since the week before Kobe passed in 2020. I'm gonna have to check that out. We have like 100. I mean, like we have like over 150 episodes. Cool. There you go. All right, Ryan. Thanks for being on, man. Thank you for having me on, man. I appreciate it. This was great. Appreciate you, bro. Hey guys, so thanks for tuning into the podcast, and a big thanks again to the fine folks at Sonity for letting us record the podcast here and for hooking us up with their delicious boba milk tea drinks. My wife Chris and I review boba milk tea spots all over the Bay Area. Believe me when I say that Sonity is definitely one of the best boba milk tea shops around. Make sure to follow them on Instagram at SAN as in Nancy A. And as in Nancy again, A19, that's sana.ng.
NA19 on Instagram. And if you're listening on Spotify and Apple Podcasts, make sure to hit that follow/subscribe button and make sure to give us a 5-star rating to give us some algorithm love. Okay? Thanks for listening.